All right, here we go. I don't have a zinger. I'm always torn whether or not I want to keep going with that or not. The last time I talked about crushing a box of better cheddars and meeting my soulmate. Here we go. On this day of all days, I gotta ask you, who's your favorite pop culture mom?
Marge Simpson.
Ooh, that's a good one. Fuck, I don't have one. I'm gonna steal yours and say Marge Simpson too. Welcome to Media Pod Smash. I am joined today by a special guest once again. We're on a hot streak of special guests. The king of pop culture, Nicholas Pepin.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right.
Good.
All
Good
right.
to hear. We just came off the heels of a special episode of Pop Culture Roulette.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hopefully actually getting some feedback on it.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe even the man himself might weigh in if we tag him.
Well, we'll tag him.
I know he's busy, but do we want to reveal what it was?
We can.
Okay. I mean, I guess because
it may drum up some interest if you don't already listen to Pop Culture Roulette.
That's true.
You can go listen to our talk about Adam Sandler for an hour and a half ish.
Yes, the 42 movie Adam Sandler bracket episode.
Which doesn't take as long as you think it does, so don't be afraid.
Yeah. We were kind of wondering if we'd have to break it into two parts, but it went along pretty smoothly.
There are definitely some surprises in there that could lead to some interesting debate.
I mean, we almost had a table flip moment.
We almost had a table flip moment. Not going to say who almost flipped the table.
Yeah, but it did almost get flipped. And it would have been a travesty because there's cake on the table still. So, but yeah, go ahead and head over to Pop Culture Roulette if you want to listen to that. That'll be out probably around the same time that this episode's out. So, but for now, I figured since, we're really doing a lot of things in terms of big projects and stuff like that, we're just gonna get this episode out as best we can. We're gonna do some bottom of the barrel type activities, and we're gonna just talk and shoot the shit about what we've been doing during the week. And
all right.
So, well, I'll start out by saying I watched SNL last night for the first time in years, probably at least 5 years. And it was only because one, Elon Musk was hosting, which is kind of surreal. I mean,
yeah, that is bizarre. I didn't quite understand why they picked Elon Musk to host. It was like a few years ago when they picked Steve something or other. Or like whenever they pick somebody who's not an actor or actress.
Yeah.
And they're like, this week is going to be Tom Brady
or
Eli Manning, or it's like, why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess apparently he really loves comedy, and when you're the richest and most powerful man around, you can be like, all right, I'll do that.
Well, and to think about all the people that they haven't picked to do Saturday Night Live yet, that would probably jump at the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking of one person in particular who used to dream of being a Saturday Night Live writer.
Oh, yeah.
And talks about Saturday Night Live. In fact, did a very short run of like a mini podcast with John Lovitz.
Yes.
Like blowing up Saturday Night Live, only to never be picked to host Saturday Night Live.
I'm kind of shocked by that. Yeah, Kevin Smith.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be perfect. From the monologue to the acting, I mean, we've seen him do things.
Right.
He would at least have some chops.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised by that. But I will say, Elon Musk did not do a horrible job. Like, his monologue was funny. Some of the acting was kind of funny. I mean, it's just the comedy in itself is, I think, seeing a guy who's basically like an android walking around try to be funny and act, and I think that's where the comedy comes in, and he kind of acknowledged that in his monologue, which was also kind of funny, because he was like, sometimes I'll say something and then I have to say I'm joking afterward because I can't convey that with the way how I'm saying it. It's kind of funny actually. And then also I gotta say the other reason why I wanted to tune into this was Miley Cyrus was the musical guest.
Oh yeah, I forgot that she was there.
And as you know,
yeah, I do. I remember that you have a bit of a thing for Miley Cyrus.
yes. All these years later, it has. I'll let you know it has not subsided.
Have you picked up on her sister as well, or do you stick just to Miley?
Her sister's aight, but it's always still gonna be Miley for me.
So the trashy '80s wannabe '80s haircut hasn't dissuaded you?
No, it's still. It hasn't dissuaded me. No.
Oh, okay.
Not
All
at all. So overall, it wasn't bad. Some of this, I can see why like people say this is going downhill or has been going downhill because it's like, first of all, I didn't recognize half the people on the show anymore. I know like, well, obviously Kenan Thompson's still there. Pete Davidson's still there. Jay Farrell, I think, still on the show. But like a lot of people, I was like, I don't know who the heck are these people.
Yeah, they've in the last year or two they've had a lot of turnover.
Okay, yeah.
So a lot of the people that you did know
Mm-hmm.
are gone, and they haven't really had a chance to build the names of the new people back up yet.
Yeah.
I watch one every so often here and there, and whatever one the last one that I tried to watch was just damn near unwatchable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember who the host was. Saturday Night Live is in a down period right now.
Yeah.
I assume at some point, hopefully in the near future, though, like whatever new crop of people that are coming in or the ones that maybe just got there will like all of a sudden blossom and because I remember when the Will Ferrell group showed up. There was that short break in between the Mike Myers, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley group.
Yeah.
And then there was a little bit of a down, like maybe a season.
Yeah.
Or some crossover between that group and the new group.
Mm-hmm.
But like when Will Ferrell, there was a lot of people like, this is just... But once Will Ferrell kind of found his footing,
Yeah.
and then Anna Gasteyer and Sherry O'Terry and Chris Kattan, like all those ones,
Yeah.
like that took off and it became amazing again.
Yeah.
Which, you could maybe argue that was the best period of Saturday Night Live. I think the people who were there for the first group would probably argue that was the best.
Right.
But, that mid to late 90s, early 2000s run of Saturday Night Live, like, that was some of the best.
I agree. Yeah. There was a lot of great
And then when they all went off because they were all famous.
Yeah.
And then a new group came in that was kind of a hit of a down period. But then, like, the Will Fortes and then Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, like, that kind of came back around. Didn't get as good. Because, Tina Fey was kind of like the holdover from the end of the Will Ferrell era.
Right.
But, like, there was that, that group that Kristen Wiig and some of those that came in right at the end when they got pretty good, and then that group kind of became famous.
Yeah.
Then this new group, like, I think part of the problem is it's all about, like, being political now.
Yeah.
And not about, like maybe it's just like this, like, post-comedy thing, like, where people are just trying to, like, every so often people try to redefine comedy, and it just, I don't know, I can't say it doesn't work because it does. Like Tim and Eric, when they did the Tim and Eric show, Awesome Good Time, whatever they did, like people were referring, like that, those guys, and Eric Andre, I know you were talking about that.
Yeah.
A lot of the live action stuff on Adult Swim
Yeah.
was kind of like this weird, like, post-comedy.
Yeah, like
where
they had the whole like anti-humor thing going on.
Right, and that, I don't know if that's now that's that's been dead for a couple years, like if somehow Saturday Night Live is trying to bring it back, or,
Yeah, I don't know.
or because like Adie Bryant can be funny, but then like she isn't, like You know, well, and I think a lot of it, and politics aside on who you voted for, who you didn't vote for, the Donald Trump era of comedy really sucked.
I agree. I mean, it's like enough already.
Right. Like we get it. You hate Donald Trump.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So does everybody else.
Yeah.
Move the fuck on.
Right. Like, you're not taking, like, some crazy stance here. You're not like, oh, wow, it's so brave to come out and hate Donald Trump. Like,
Right.
it's like, yeah, every fucking person has said that. There's nothing really new you can say anymore about it. Unless, like, you're really... I mean, there's a few select people that I think could pull it off that were really funny, that were able to put, like, a new spin on things, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, it's like you'd be better off just sticking to something completely unrelated to the politics altogether.
Well, and I think that's why, like Jim Gaffigan, his career. Well, I can't say that because he did kind of come out there towards the end, but like for most of it, Jim Gaffigan would put out stand-up specials, and like I've not watched some of his newer ones, but like most of his stand-up specials previous were relatively political free. And I think that's what has made Jim Gaffigan kind of stand out in the crowd, where like that's where he's still super popular. Is that surely they all have some sort of political opinion, but not like being able to listen to a Jim Gaffigan album that he put out 10 years ago today, and not be like, oh god, this joke about like Bill Clinton,
right? Yeah.
Is what makes that, like, when you can kind of pick an old album up from 20 years ago and it still be really funny and not have to go to the Wikipedia to like look up why the joke is funny.
Yeah.
Where like I do wonder, like, I mean, here's an old reference for you to kind of go against what I just said, like Dennis Miller.
Okay, yeah.
Like if you were to try to listen to a Dennis Miller stand up now, from when he was in the 90s, like would that stuff be near as funny now if you were not from that generation? Because like, well, for like you, so I'm 43, you're 20.
I'm 30.
You're 30 now.
Yeah.
So like if you were trying to listen to a Dennis Miller stand-up when he was at his heyday, when they hired him to do Monday Night Football for all of Random Things, I don't know if you would get it because you were so much younger.
Yeah.
Like that the world of politics didn't matter to you.
Right.
And so like hearing him go, and use big words, like back then that was friggin' hilarious because we were living it, but now, so I just don't know if the political comedian, or the political comedian that takes a hardcore stance with current members. Yeah. Not like, because you could be a political comedian and make fun of politics in general if you're not attaching it to Al Gore or Bill Clinton or Obama or, like if you're just attaching it to
just the world in general.
Right.
Like, I think that's what was so great about like people like George Carlin. And why his stuff holds up, because he would just kind of talk about how fucked up things are in general instead of going after one or the other or specifically naming things.
Right.
And so, I see what you're saying about that Dennis Miller. I would definitely not get. But, I mean, so overall, though, to be honest, I thought it was really entertaining just to see someone of Elon Musk's caliber dress up in silly costumes and try to act funny. But probably not going to be watching SNL again anytime soon.
All right.
So that's my 2 cents on that. I also watched a documentary over the weekend called The Last Blockbuster on Netflix. I don't know, you'd probably...
Oh, okay. No, I do remember hearing about that.
Okay.
Like, it's because the last Blockbuster store that's open in Portland or near Portland.
Yeah, it's in Bend, Oregon.
Okay.
So it's very close to Portland, but it's very fascinating. I mean, I've come to the realization now, like if you can make a good documentary, it can be about just about anything, and it's if you're good at making films, you could probably captivate my imagination. Like, it could be about how fucking staplers were made. And if you have, like, enough good celebrity interviews and good artistic cutaways, I'd be into it.
Well, I think 30 for 30 taught us that.
Yes. That's a great example. Yeah.
Because I've definitely watched a couple 30 for 30s when they're like, the future of badminton. I don't. Oh, wait, what? Who's voicing that? And like I watched one on Joey Chestnut versus Kobayashi with the hot dog eating.
Yeah.
I could give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
But the 30 for 30 was kind of interesting, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing how they can manage to do that and captivate you just by the way it's shot and made. Yeah. So this one was very interesting. They had a lot of good celebrities in it. Kevin Smith obviously added to it. Who else was in it? Doug Benson had a pretty big part in it, who I haven't seen in a long time. I don't know what that dude was up to. Maybe just doing some stand-up around.
He probably was so high he got lost in a room somewhere.
Yeah, he actually was in the last Blockbuster and he got lost. They just happened to stumble upon him.
So this Blockbuster,
Yeah.
is it still owned by the Blockbuster Corporation or?
Oh, well, here's the thing. So, like, Dish bought Blockbuster a while back.
Okay.
And so, like, any of the franchises that were open had to renew their contract through Dish. And I'll be honest with you, I'm at the last 10 minutes of the movie, so I really can't tell you what happens with that particular store. I don't know if they're up their contract or not. That's kind of like where I'm hanging on the edge of right now.
Okay.
That's sort of like the big thing. But that's how it works. All the franchises prior to these other stores, like, because I think from before this one was the last one, there was like, I don't know, a handful of stores that were still open, and they were slowly just dying. Like, it was like year after year, just a few more were closing at one after the other, and this eventually became the last one. I think there was like 3 or 4 in Alaska just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And so, like, they'd all have to renew their contract through Dish, and it was up to Dish to decide whether or not they wanted to give them the name. And I guess they decided it was not worth it for them to keep giving them the rights to that name. So I guess that's the big question at the end of this documentary is, are they going to renew their contract?
Huh.
I'm going to say probably doesn't happen. But I don't know the ending. Isn't that great? I can't tell you exactly what happens.
So, like, if I was to go to this Blockbuster, like, today,
yeah,
could I rent, like, Tenet? Or am I just, like, am I stuck, like, renting, like, you know?
Yeah, like old shit, like the Disney clamshells.
Right.
No. She's a great general manager, it would appear. It shows her going to Target to, like, acquire all the new releases and anything that people request. Like, it's actually a really well-run store. And so they do have all the new releases.
Okay.
They've got the games and stuff. And now they have props from who was that? So I don't know if you saw this, but a while back, John Oliver's show donated a bunch of props to that store in Alaska that was still open. And it was like all props from who the hell is that guy's name? Oh, Russell Crowe. It was Russell Crowe's, like, props that he was auctioning off for this divorce that he was going through. and so they got, like, a leather jock strap from one of his movies and, like, all this weird crazy stuff, and they donated it to the Alaska store, and then eventually that store closed and they got those props back for the Portland or the Bend store. And so they show them setting that up and how it's become sort of like a tourist attraction over the years, and how she's always getting, like, these news interviews that she has to go on. And it's a really fascinating story. It really is.
I'll have to give that one a watch. Yeah. My memories of Blockbuster in college, when, like, my friends and I, like, we didn't have anything to do for the weekend, we'd go to Blockbuster and rent 2 or 3 movies for the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, because there was one right down the street from us. There was that one, and we didn't have Hollywood Video. You guys...
Yeah, we had Hollywood.
We had somebody else. Like Movies or something like that. Like, I remember there being, like, a cow print.
Okay.
Like, there was a couple mom and pop...
That's
like,
clever.
There was a couple, like, mom and pop places, but the closest one to the college campus was either that Movies or the Blockbuster.
Okay.
And I remember, like, just going there to rent whatever.
Yeah.
And, watching 2 or 3 movies a weekend.
Yeah.
Or, like, my friends and I going and, like, all right, who can pick the best movie?
Yeah.
Based solely off cover. You're not allowed to pick up the movie and look at the back and read the description.
Yeah.
Based solely off cover art. and watching some real trash.
Oh, I can imagine. They always sold them so well out with those covers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
especially some of the horror ones.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like, this shit has nothing to do with what's going on at all.
Yeah.
They blew their whole budget on the cover.
Doing that or just like who can pick the cheesiest horror film? Or,
Yeah.
just renting whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't, because the internet was kind of a new thing. So it must have either been reading the base, the earliest of the internet blogs or whatever, Entertainment Weekly, because I remember there was always like movies that I was out to look for.
Yeah.
And like, I'd keep them in the back of my mind. Like, I really want to see this one movie because like this one actor I really like, or some like half sentence I read in Entertainment Weekly was like, I gotta see this movie.
Yeah.
Like now, like it's just so easy. Like, oh, okay, I heard about that movie. Let me check my Just Watch app.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Put it on the want list.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, look, it's on Netflix and play.
right. Yeah, things have become a little bit different.
Yeah.
And they definitely they touch on that a lot in the documentary about how things have changed and the feelings that they used to have, like you described. I mean, I obviously I'm a little bit younger and I don't have those same like warm and fuzzy feelings about the video store, but I still did frequent video stores when I was a child. We actually had two mom and pop places like right next to each other at one point in town. I don't know if you were around for that.
I was here for one of them because I had moved here. Must have been a little before it went out of business.
Yeah.
Because I remember going over there with Justin.
Yeah.
And like buying a shit ton of movies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember when they were selling their fixtures and stuff too.
Right, and like having to bring my truck over to put the fixtures in, take him to his house because he bought some movie fixtures.
Yeah, Justin would buy movie fixtures from the video store. Yeah, so for a little while there, when we were kids, growing up here, there was two stores. There was that one, and then there was one called Video Country that was literally right next door. And before that one actually was in a strip mall. I don't know why they ever moved, but they changed their location to move right next across the street. And I have fond memories of going into both of those places. I mean, when we were younger, they were both in walking distance, and it was just like we were able to walk to the store, and it was always fun to like peruse the horror section and see those weird covers. And it was just that like they talk in the movie about how like each video store has like a specific smell. And I'm like, yep, I remember that too. Just like walking in there, the smell of the popcorn and the smell of like the old plastic tapes on the floor or whatever. I mean, everything else. It was just like it's just a cool environment, and it's.
There was a mom and pop place not too far from my house when I lived in Atlanta.
Yeah.
For high school.
Yeah.
And it was old enough to drive there on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So like I could go and rent movies, like my friends and I would go and rent whatever, almost whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
But it was one of those mom and pop places that had the curtain or the barn door.
Oh yeah. And
I always wanted to go back there. But I was never old enough, or my parents were always there.
Yeah.
So like by the time I was old enough to like finally go back there,
yeah,
most of those places had closed down.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't I wasn't frequenting, because Blockbuster had come in and basically shut down most of the mom and pop places, and then I guess. Well, you guys had Hollywood Video that lasted for a while.
Yeah, that one stuck.
But there was
around.
another chain.
There was Family Video.
Okay, so maybe we did have Hollywood Video, and Family Video is the one that we didn't have.
Okay. Which I believe there still is one Family Video I can think of, at least in West Dallas. I think there's still.
I think so.
One.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did Blockbuster ever have the adults section, or did they not have those?
No, they did not.
So that
Blockbuster did not have, there was a certain rating, or you had to be a certain type of movie. If like they wouldn't carry NC-17 ratings,
Yeah.
and they were very, very picky on carrying like not rated movies.
Mm.
Because I distinctly remember my friends and I going to a different movie place than Blockbuster
Yeah.
to rent Showgirls.
Oh, okay.
Because when Showgirls came out, somehow they must have publicized it or talked about it enough in the newspaper
yeah.
that there was going to be like two versions of Showgirls on VHS. There was going to be some sort of unrated, or maybe they had lied and said there was going to be, because we went and especially went to whatever this other movie place was, because we knew they didn't have the rules that Blockbuster had. That and like, we I don't know, we to rent that version of Showgirls, and like there was me, my buddy Michael, and then a couple other people who I don't even remember. I know there was like 4 of us, and like his parents were going out of town, so like we picked that weekend and we were all gonna get together, and like so like we didn't lie to my parents or any of our parents. Like we were all going to hang out at Mike's house.
Yeah.
We just didn't tell them what we were watching while we were there.
Right.
And we all like the first couple minutes of Showgirls, we're all like high fiving each other, like, oh man, this is amazing.
Yeah.
What Jesse Spano is. Oh, this is. And then like it's a long movie.
Oh yeah.
And by like halfway through, we're like,
yeah.
Okay, we've seen it.
This is what we wanted to watch.
Right. And then by the time it was over, we're like, you're just so like you're not. I guess desensitized is the right word.
Sure.
But like you're just like, okay, Jesse, put your shirt back on. Put your pants back on.
Right. I mean, it doesn't help. I mean, that's just a laughably bad movie. Isn't it?
Yeah, that is
like
that is such a bad movie. Like,
yeah,
it has almost made me want to rewatch it when they started showing it on TV.
Oh yeah,
because they were digitally painting bikinis on all the girls, like in the background, as well as the main actors.
Really?
So like when they'd be in the strip club like dancing, like, and it was like obviously digitally painted bikinis.
That's hilarious.
Like well, like at some point that movie. What am I, 100?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go down to the show.
The movie house.
At some point that movie became like some sort of like camp favorite, like kind of like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Where like people watch it ironically,
right? Right.
Yeah. And so like when it became kind of like famous or popular for that, like VH1 would show it, and like they would digitally paint. They had to cut some of it out altogether.
Yeah.
But then so like I did flip through a couple seconds once, and it was like it's so weird to see, because it wasn't like digitally painted, like it was just like animated, like, and it was so obvious.
That's so funny. That reminds me of, have you ever seen like the safe for work porn that they did online?
This is either where they got the idea to do it, or where the safe for work people got the idea.
Yeah. That's so funny. I gotta check that out too. What channels show that movie?
Anymore, I don't think anybody does. Well, because now you can just stream everything. So
I bet like YouTube probably has like a cut of some of those clips though.
Oh,
I'm sure that's out there. Yeah, but yeah. So last Blockbuster, I definitely recommend checking out, especially if you like getting all warm and fuzzy.
Okay.
And there's a lot of great celebrity interviews in it too, so that helps. I brought along the Book of Stupid. Well, I didn't bring it along. It's always been here, thanks to you. And I think that when you're doing a show quickly and just trying to throw something together, it's always nice to dive into the Book of Stupid Questions.
All right, let's dive
in. Did you listen last week?
Yes.
So you would pick the groin kick?
Yeah, no one wins with a headbutt.
Heck yeah.
Plus, you're going to end it way faster with a groin kick than a headbutt.
Yeah.
And you're as likely to hurt yourself as you are them.
That's
with
right.
a headbutt.
And I mean, as badass as a headbutt could look, it's just not worth it. Okay. Are you more likely to be the good cop or the bad cop?
Oh man, I've always said that like there's a reason that I'm not a cop,
Yeah.
and it's not like I wouldn't be the bad cop like the ones that are on the news right now, but I'd be the cop who pulls people over because like I don't like the way your car looks.
So
Here's a ticket because you have an ugly car.
you're the ridiculously petty cop?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like how you passed me.
Well, what's an example of a car that you would pull over that you don't like the look of? Just so I kind of have like a way to gauge this.
Like a really big stupid spoiler.
Okay.
Yeah. Unnecessary. Like a Chevy Astrovan that's been like, turned into a lowrider.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
A Honda Civic that somehow has 22s on it. Something just when you see it, you're like, that's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I just. Or I'd be, walking the beat and like, it's just, that guy looks I don't like the way that guy looks. I don't like the way he's wearing that shirt.
Well, if you were an East Troy cop, you could do those things and it would be totally guilt-free because nothing ever happens here. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff you'd have to stoop to if you really wanted to keep the...
Oh, yeah. No. I'd have to be in a town like that because I don't want to deal with real crime.
Yeah, I mean... I don't want to get hurt.
I don't want to. I'd be driving around. I think your radio's too loud. Or your radio's too loud and you got shitty taste in music.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that radio, buddy. What, it's too loud? No, your stuff just sucks.
You got bad taste in music. Here's a ticket.
That would be I would watch that show if they followed you around with a camera and just had you doing stuff like that. I would totally watch that.
I don't like the color that you painted this car. Fix it, ticket. You got 10 days to repaint it.
I like it. Well, I think I would have to be the good cop because I just think I'm like too nice to be the bad cop. I don't know if I have the ability to be the bad cop.
Don't do it again, all right, eh?
I'm going to let you off with a warning, but please don't do it again.
As they're still doing it.
Yeah, like he's literally like got the TV in his hands. I'm still going to give you a little time to put that TV down. Just don't walk any further. Well, okay, see you later. Just don't take another one. I don't know. I think that'd be me.
Did you see that Key and Peele sketch where Key was the cop and like he had the gun out and Peele was the criminal and he's like, Don't you get in that car. Yeah. Don't you get in that car. Don't you start it. Don't you drive. Don't you.
Yes, it would be like that. That was a good sketch. That's a great show. Is that streaming anywhere?
HBO Max, I believe.
Nice. I'll have to go back and watch that. I know I always go back to this one, but the one that always makes me crack up is the football players and their names.
That is a good one.
All right, so let's do another stupid question. If you had a third eye, where would it be? Where would you put it?
I mean, wouldn't you put it behind your head so you could, nobody could sneak up behind you?
I think that's probably a pretty solid place to put it. Yeah. But would that throw you off in your everyday life?
Well, I would hope like you would have the ability to control it. Like most of the time, you just have it closed.
Yeah.
But every so often, you're like, "What's back there?"
Yeah.
Okay. Or I guess. Well, where have you always had the third eye?
Well, let's say,
were you born with it?
Let's say you were born with it.
Then it would just be normal. Like you wouldn't know any different.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Because like if it was like all of a sudden you're like 25 and some surgeon comes up to you and goes, hey, I can give you a third eye. Hey, it'll work 100%.
Yeah.
Where do you want
Where
it?
do you want it?
Ooh, right here in the back of my head, please.
Now, you're sure this is going to work, right? I mean, it's 100% legit? Oh, yeah. Just get in this garage. Strap into this chair. Okay.
Oh, you stole my kidney.
There's no third eye here. Yeah. I mean, I was going to say something else, but I mean, the back of the head is kind of the perfect spot if you're going to have a third eye.
Right, yeah.
Like, I was going to say, like, I want it, like, on my hand so that, like, I could, like, move it around, like, kind of, like, wherever I need it. If I'm, like...
I mean, that's a good choice as well.
But there's a lot of risk of damaging it that way.
I mean, I'm constantly cutting myself, so...
Yeah. And I would be afraid that I'd forget it's there, and then you get, like, anything. I mean, you could, like... For instance, I'll give you a real-life example. I was playing Assassin's Creed the other day, and I have to do... There's a mini-game in there where you have to stack these rocks, and these motherfuckers, I swear to God... They use, like, real-life physics on these things. And by the end of it, when you're getting into, like, the ultra-hard versions, you got to stack the rocks up, like, 10 feet in the air. And there's, like, 15 little tiny ones that you have to... Okay, I'm exaggerating. There's, like, maybe 10 little tiny ones you have to stack up. And it's, like, you have to hold B to validate it once you get your tower all the way up. And if it just edges off slightly, the whole thing collapses. So, needless to say... It collapsed when I got it to the very top and slammed my hand against the edge of my desk, meaning just to slam my controller, but my hand caught it. So if I had an eyeball in there, I don't think that would bode too well for, like, that eye.
No, yeah.
And it would be over a really stupid reason. Like, I'd have to go to the optometrist, and he'd be like, so what happened? Stacking some rocks. I'm a fucking moron.
Ooh, real rocks? Oh,
No.
Video game rocks.
It was serious business, Doc. I completely scratched my cornea because of this. So... I'm going to have to, knowing that information and how careless I am, back of the head, I agree with you. It's a good place. All right. Those rocks, though. Do you ever play any of the new Assassin's Creed games?
No.
Okay. I recommend them. They're fun. They're going in a really interesting direction with those games, but they use a lot of the same old mechanics, like climbing the buildings. And
okay.
It feels the same, but it's...
I kind of want to play Valhalla because that one feels so... different than any of the other ones, but
honestly, yeah, if they would have called it something else, I mean, they could have gotten away with just calling it like generic Viking game, and it very loosely fits into the lore of Assassin's Creed. But the only thing that makes it Assassin's Creed really is that you can be stealthy if you want to, and it's got some of the assassination elements to it. But you can really go balls out and just like the animations of like some of the deaths. It's like, holy crap! Like you're chopping guys' heads off and stuff. It's like Mortal Kombat style. Yeah. They really went for it. Oh, here's a good one. Especially in the age of masks. Do you ever make faces behind people's backs? And do you think they ever make faces at you? And
yes.
Yeah?
Yes. And I would be shocked to find out that they don't.
Yeah. I mean... Especially, I mean, like with masks. When I go out to the grocery store, I don't know if I'm necessarily. Well, I'll make faces, but more so than faces, I'll actually like mouth like "fuck off" or like "fuck you" to people because I have the veil now.
What'd you say? Nothing.
Nothing. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, there have been a couple times where I've walked by somebody and said something under my breath where I'm like, did I say that too loud? They might have heard that. Well, they aren't reacting. So they either did and are just like, whatever.
Right.
Or they didn't hear it. Okay.
Let's just assume they didn't hear it.
Yeah.
And keep going on. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's about the quickest. That's a quick one. I don't have any more to elaborate on that. Yeah, forget it. I was gonna add more to it, but I don't have anything. Let's see. I got another one saved in here.
Well, you brought up Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
I've been finding myself playing a lot of indie games recently.
Yeah.
On the Game Pass, and I've played this really weird game that's a lot of fun. It took like 2 or 3 nights to beat it, and even like 1,000 pointed or whatever you want to call the 100% completion. It's called Donut County.
Okay.
And you are a hole.
Okay.
That as you eat things, like you move around on the ground, and you make things fall into the hole.
Yeah.
And every time you do, you get a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger.
Oh, so it's like Katamari.
Kinda. But you have to figure out the right pattern to eat the certain things until you can get, and like basically every level ends with like you having eaten everything.
Oh.
And then as you go on, like you get like a catapult power, or so you got to learn like I got to go eat this so that I can launch it up and turn this switch, or like I got to eat this over here first before I eat that so that I can turn this on and turn that on. I mean, it's a quick, simple little game, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Because like you find out like you're actually a raccoon controlling the hole.
That's funny.
And like it's this raccoon company that's moved into Donut County.
Uh-huh.
And they found a new way to steal trash, because that's
clever.
Yeah. And like I mean it's a silly game. It only took a couple nights.
Yeah.
To and you probably could beat it in one sitting if you don't want to do all the achievements.
Sure. Yeah.
Like it's a short game, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the kind of game that I'm glad I played.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if Game Pass allows you to play a lot of games you otherwise would never.
Yes.
And that's one of those games like I probably never would have. Unless I was over at a friend's house, or like somebody was like, dude, you got to try this game.
Yeah.
Like I never would have, like I would have seen Donut County, and it's kind of a weird art style.
Mm-hmm.
I probably never would have been like, yeah, I want to plunk down $15 on that.
Right.
Same thing with like Untitled Goose Game.
Yes. Yep.
Right now I'm working my way through Rain on Your Parade, where you're a cardboard cloud just messing everybody's day up. Like
I got to check that one out too.
These games are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, and the kind of indie like Assassin's Creed and MLB and anything EA does is automatically going to be the bestseller and going to get your attention because they're the big game studios.
Yeah, I can't believe they added the show to that.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, the fact that it's even on Xbox is like pretty awesome, and then they go ahead and add it to Game Pass. It's like fuck yeah.
Well, and what's even funnier about it is that like, because clearly Sony has something to do with the production of it.
Yep.
When you turn the game on, the PlayStation logo is there.
That's so weird. It's nice to see they're trying to get along.
Right. Like you'd kind of be like, I thought they'd have pulled that one out of the Xbox version.
Yeah. Like what? That's pretty funny. That's a solid game. I did play some of the older shows. I used to have a PlayStation 4.
I've been playing that one too. I've got a guy in the minors I'm trying to move up.
Yeah, Road to the Show.
How
is that?
It's interesting. Okay. Like right now I'm on the AA River City Trash Pandas.
Oh, nice.
I'm batting like 390 something.
Nice.
I'm also pitching, so I'm like 6-4.
Oh, okay.
With a sub-4 ERA, because my defense is terrible.
Come on, Trash Pandas, get it together.
But I made the All-Star team.
Oh, that's good.
For the first half of the season.
That's good. Yeah, that's a fun game. I love. I used to waste a lot of evenings just kind of playing on those kind of games.
I did not realize how long until I went to bed last night I had played that game. Because I worked yesterday, and then I got home. I did a couple things around the house. I watched Uncut Gems. I did a few things, and then I watched some TV, and then probably about 8:30, I turned the Xbox on.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I went in earlier than that because I played a couple other games first.
Yeah.
To knock my quest the monthly quest out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I'm going to play some baseball, and then I'll turn on this other game. And next thing I know, I look up, and it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, well, guess I'm not playing other games.
That's amazing how that happens. Did I just like step into some sort of like time vortex or something?
Let's see. So I've been playing baseball here for about 6 hours. Okay then. All right then.
Yeah.
It's time to go to bed, eh?
Yeah. That's funny. Yes, the wonderful world of gaming, and all the journeys it takes you on. I'm excited to play that game. I really can't wait. But I think, well, I don't know. I was gonna do more stupid questions, but I mean, we just did the bracket. It's been kind of a long Sunday already. Barely even got this together, so like, get off my nuts, people. You should be happy that we even provided you with an episode. Should I pull one more out? What is it? What are we at? Oh my god. Maybe I'll pull one more out.
Okay.
Okay. This is like back in the old school days where I felt like pressure to make them long. Like I had to, but really didn't. There really isn't a need for that.
No, I mean, well, I guess I've said it about Kevin Smith on movies in the past, or on episodes in the past. If the movie wants to be 2 hours long, let it be 2 hours long.
Right.
If the movie wants to be an hour and a half, let it be an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Let the movie tell you how long it's not going to be. Don't be so married to the idea that it has to be, 89 minutes or 90 minutes or something, that you cut stuff out just for, like, good stuff out, or cut plot lines out just for brevity.
That's true. Yeah.
But at the same time, like sometimes with like, Scorsese, don't shove an hour of extra footage in there just because you're like, it has to be 3 hours.
Yeah. This guy getting his mail was crucial to his development. Okay. Some of these are pretty weird. Wow, I don't even know if you can say this one anymore. This one says, is James Bond a sex addict or just a slut?
Slut.
Yeah, I think so too. He just has to have it. Wait, that would mean he's a sex addict. He doesn't have to have it, but he just likes it.
I mean, I think he just constantly finds himself in a scenario where it's available. I don't think he's out looking for it.
Yeah, like if these situations present themselves to you, who are you to decline?
Yeah. It's not like he's not taking cases just to go get it. Like
right. It
just so happens that he constantly comes across girls named Octopussy or Pussy Galore or Honey Rider or Xena Onatop or
it just comes with the territory.
Christmas Jones.
Christmas Jones. Was that The World Is Not Enough?
Yeah. Where Denise Richards was somehow a nuclear scientist.
What, you don't believe that? You find that hard to believe?
Yes.
Jeez. You know what, people? I'm making a fucking game show for you. Media pod smash off. Not really though. Thanks for being on the show again, man.
Oh, no,
I appreciate it.
Not a problem. It's always fun.
Yeah, hell yeah. Next week, big game show.
Big game show.
It's gonna be fun.
All right.